You passed your luck check.
It's the No Class Podcast.
With your monstrous hosts, Eddie.
And Matt.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
I am fine and dandy like cotton candy. Let me share that one with you real quick.
No.
Yes. When we were at North Texas, I'd seen him a few times, but
Spoiler alert.
I know we were chit-chatting or talking or whatever. We couldn't really talk. Well, finally, Hobbs stopped by the booth and said, hey, man, I just want to say hey, because we haven't really had a chance to talk. And he still had his sort of entourage with him or something. And he said, how are you, man? And I said, man, I'm fine as frog hair split four ways. And he was like, man, I'm from too far up north to understand what you just said. And like you said, wait a minute, you hang around Beatty. I know you've heard some...
You've heard some Mayberry stuff if you hang around with Beatty.
Exactly. So I told him, I said, how about this one? I'm fine and dandy like cotton candy. And he goes, all right, that one I get, Anyway, he's a good guy. We had a good chat.
Yeah, just speaking of Hobbs, to derail this all of a sudden. I talked to him here and there at the con. And it's more like, hey, how you doing? And I'm sure it's like, how do you know me and how do I know you?
Right.
But we still chit-chat back and forth, and he just... seems like a real nice guy.
No, he really does.
This is probably when his murder charges will come out later today.
After we've talked to him. But no, if you don't know, he has a podcast called Hobbs and Friends, and it's been around for a while, and he does that. So check it out. He's a good guy, and he's got a good pod. That's how I know him, is from Hobbs and Friends. That, and we've been on some of the same DCC gaming tables,
For the most part, I do not listen to other podcasts, other gaming podcasts.
I don't, except for... Rolling Bones and This Old Dungeon.
Well, there you go. We dropped in 2 different plugs.
There we go. Had to. I figure Ryan, Lou, and Bill and Ed would come get me, if we didn't.
Yeah.
But no, which was great to see them. I still think, because he doesn't use his picture for his Facebook profile and who knows, whatever. But when I'm like, hey, man, he kind of looks at me like, who are you? And I know him only,
Edwin,
okay. Nagy or whatever. Yeah. Cause he, and maybe it's just, he's one of those people, he has that look like, whatever. It's kind of funny, but hell, we played in Gladiator together last year. And, I think they threw me in for like, you're drunk. He'll beat you down and move along. And my dice were hot and I really, jacked his guy up, but he was a good sport. We laughed and cut up the whole time. He's a good guy. Anywho,
we laughed and laughed.
Yeah, this year playing Gladiator, I was dead in 5 minutes. I rolled crappy for the character. My dice were ice cold during the Gladiator. Maybe I needed to be inebriated. This time I was sober, but no, I was in and out of the room in 10 minutes. I mean, it was kind of sad. Anyway,
all right. Well, we will get to NTRPG.
Yeah.
But it has been a minute since we've done a podcast.
Yeah,
it's been at least a month, I think.
Yeah, I hope all you people are well. We've missed you. Kisses.
And it's been these dirty videos, but we haven't made any of these videos in a couple of weeks either, so we need to get back on that.
We need to get back on that. I had somebody mention that they liked that we were doing those coming from, 5th to DCC, and they were enjoying them. So I think the mandate is there, sir.
So our next Twitch show should be on the 20th, unless you shoot it down.
I need to look at my calendar, but yeah, if I can, I'm going to move heaven and earth.
And we should be talking about how to run your first DCC game.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
So we will see. We will keep you posted.
Yep, absolutely.
We're not going to do the full pop culture books, movies, and TVs this time, but I will say that I have been watching the new Arnold Schwarzenegger TV show on Netflix.
Fubar?
Oh, okay. So I'm exactly 1 episode in.
And?
So far, so good.
Wow, cool.
And I just started the Arnold documentary. So this is talking about his life, and I'm probably 30 minutes into the first hour and a half long episode. And this is talking about his time as an athlete, and a lot of it's just been him growing up in Austria. And usually that's the part where you're like, it's so boring. But he's such a great storyteller. And it's so interesting that so far that has really, really been interesting.
Oh, cool.
But of course, full disclosure, I'm an Arnie fan.
Sure.
Who isn't?
Yeah. So the funny thing about that is I was aware of Fubar, but I hadn't been in a rush to watch it. But I was not aware there was a documentary. Is this on Netflix as well?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to check that out, because I like documentaries. And like you said, if you grew up in the 80s watching action movies and you don't like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't know what to say to you, So yeah, I'm right there with you. I'll check it out. So thanks for the tip, amigo.
Yeah. Back in the day when it was Arnie versus Stallone.
Yeah.
And were there a bunch of Stallone fans? I mean, I like Rocky and at
But
least a couple of Rambos.
that's
But
what I laugh because I never thought of it as a competition because no offense to
it was
me,
one-sided competition.
yeah, they're not even in the same. I mean, I like Stallone,
Yeah.
I really do, but no, they're not even in the same ballpark. You know, I'm like, I mean, Arnie dominated. What I mean, Stallone did make quite a. I mean, he made what is it, 5 or 6 Rambos? I mean, I don't know. Well, the rain's coming down now, pretty good.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I'll check that out. Cool beans.
And he made that movie with Kurt Russell, which was Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
Where everybody first heard Fubar. And now that's a Schwarzenegger show.
And I laugh because I had that poster for the longest time, the Tango and Cash, because I kind of like Stallone in that movie, and I've always loved Kurt Russell. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that one was so stupid, but you know, 80s was about stupid action movies, and this was definitely right there in that wheelhouse, you know.
And
So
this
it was
is
good.
where we take a 2-hour course off the beaten path to talk
Yeah,
about our man crush for Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I love how we said we'll be quick with the pop culture, and here we are. But
It's still quick. But anyway, on
yeah.
Netflix, check those out. And I know Matt wants to talk to you about how he has sold us all down the river and watched the movie.
the movie. So like I was saying earlier, the last 2 months on Facebook, every D&D old guy role playing Grognard OSR whatever web forum group I'm on a lot. Everyone's like, I saw the movie. I saw the movie. Have you seen the movie?
So you know that this makes you a filthy traitor.
I know. And so, but a man of my word, I said I wasn't going to watch it till it was on streaming and I could watch it for free because we use like a 1 week trial of Paramount Plus or whatever to watch it. So yeah, I watched the movie. So the hilarious thing about this is, I think what has helped this movie more than anything, and in the end, it sounds like it did pretty good, but not that well, was there's all of us guys that since we were little kids always said, man, D&D would make a great movie. The property of D&D, the lore of the world, man, it'd make a great movie. Man, it'd make a great movie. And then to think, like, in my lifetime, I've seen some pretty poopy movies. I've never walked out of a movie. I walked out. The one and only movie I've ever walked out of, the D&D movie. It was that bad, that disappointing, that atrocious.
And that was on an airplane.
Yeah, that was the original one, right? Just opened the door, walked out. Luckily, I had to shoot. Oh, shoot. So anyway, to my point, so a lot of these guys, I think, were just sitting here praying for a D&D, wanting it so bad. And so there was that built-in draw. And that's why they probably sat there for 2 hours. We put it on. Me and Heather started watching it. 20 minutes in, she turned to me and said, I don't really want to watch this.
The new movie.
The new movie. So it goes to show you, without that built-in D&D nostalgia or whatever, I mean, 20 minutes in, she's like, meh. And I went, and honestly, I was like, yeah, I got a lot of stuff I need to do to get prepared for the con. And I was like, we'll watch it when we get back. And we turned it off. Didn't even think about it. And then we'd been back a day or two, and I went, oh, yeah. I was like, that movie. I go, you want to finish it? She goes, no. I mean, so, but here's one thing that's funny is the original movie was about rogues, and it was a heist movie, and it did so well, right? No, it stank. So I love how they said, hey, let's do rogues and make it like
Double down.
It's like ye old Ocean's 11 or whatever, in D&D world. I will say,
You son of a bitch.
yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah.
For the Rick and Morty crowd.
Right. Those, I mean, there were some good beats. There was some decent acting. Some of the characters had, some likable traits or whatever. There was some awesome CGI and shit. I mean, but this was something that, if it wasn't for the D&D aspect of it, it'd be one that a year from now you mentioned, I'd go, huh? Oh yeah, I watched that, didn't I? Kind of, I mean, like, it's not something I'm going to go cherish my lifetime or.
So was that worth selling your soul to WotC for? To watch that?
I didn't pay to watch it, so I'm kind of like we tell you guys, if you want to play 5th edition, play it as much as you want, but don't spend one more penny with WotC or Hasbro. Well, they didn't get my money. I watched it for free.
I'd have to say I don't think I was ever that excited about the D&D movie.
Even the original one? Are you talking about?
No, definitely not the original one.
Okay.
During
But
the
even
original
this
one, I
one.
wasn't even gaming.
Yeah.
I wasn't even there.
I'm not. Well, that's the real issue is anymore. I can't get excited about anything because I go, let's see how
Anything?
Yeah. Okay. Case in point, I've got
Anything?
people come up to me going, "Hey, man, the Fallout TV show," and I'm like, What have you seen the meme where the guy starts crying? He's like, "Don't get my hopes up. Don't do that to me." It's like I've grown to love the Fallout property.
You've been hurt too many times.
Yeah, I know. Where it's going to be, well, of course, the main character is going to be a strong female character, and like the one white guy is going to be a bumbling inept jackass, and blah blah blah. And it's like, geez, I've only seen this play out in about every TV show and movie for the last 2 or 3 years or whatever. It's like, it's too in your face. It's getting old. And it's like, I consider for an hour and talk to you about how much I love Helen Ripley and how much I love, the strong character from Terminator 2, old Sarah Connor or whatever. No, there's all these strong female characters in movies that I've adored that have been good writing and good characters, but there are other people that get to shine the movie and have their part or whatever, Anyway, but it's on the nose. It's so, anyway, whatever. So,
So in this D&D movie, is there bumbling men? Is that part of the problem, or it is the problem?
I know you're not going to believe this. Chris Pine is pretty much one of the main characters for sure.
And he's a bumbling idiot.
But he's kind of a bumbling jackwad or whatever.
Now, is he a bard?
He is.
But I kind of know some of the plot, so I think we're late enough for this. Spoilers.
Luckily, he's not your usual horny bard.
Yeah, because isn't he trying to get his wife back?
Exactly.
Something along those lines. So at least he's not the horny bard. Thank God.
And I don't know if I should say it, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's just nah. I mean, and then again, there was all that stuff in there that like, well, they had to have this and you had to do that or whatever. But I do like the barbarian character Holga. I like the chick that played her, and I liked her, and she's the tough, But then again, the physicality she brought to that part and the fight scenes, it was good. It was good. I mean, I liked her as that bard. I mean, as the barbarian, and she seemed tough. I mean,
Is she the lady that's the tough chick in every movie?
Exactly, yeah. So there is
it
that.
Michelle Rodriguez?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sick of her. I don't know why.
I know, but yeah.
So that was when they're like, this is the cast. It's like, oh, and tough chick has tough chick. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which, again, it'd be nice to see somebody else maybe get a role, but whatever, But I liked her character probably about the most. And actually, Hugh Grant, I've never been a big fan of him. Well, I mean, I don't think I'm spoiling it for anybody. He's the villain in this.
No.
Yeah, and he actually does a pretty good job being the, because always kind of talks, British and
But that's what makes me think, like you said, it's Ocean's 11.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is basically like it shows you though. I love how the writers, I'm going to piss somebody off here, but here I go. All these writers are out in Hollywood picketing and pissed off, but it's like you keep putting out the same stage schlock crap.
If people keep buying it.
Ding, 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 ding. And that's why I'm the first one telling you, if you quit, I love our good old buddy Craig over in Shreveport that's like, it's Star Wars. No, it's just a picture of a camera, a turd with flies flying around it, but it says Star Wars on the side of the turd. Then I'll watch it. It's like, quit giving your money to this stuff, and then he'll go, it sucked, and I hate what they've done with the story. Then quit giving them your money.
Yeah.
Quit watching it.
And it took me probably 30 Marvel movies to get tired of the Marvel movie formula, but we're pretty much there. That's another thing that I'm starting to get to where it's like I could not care less about the next Marvel movie release or TV show.
I don't care about anything coming out of Marvel. Any of that, and it's a shame. And what sucks is Netflix was doing a pretty good job with the properties they had, so of course it got taken away from them and the people that were doing it. Because Power Man and which what do they call him by his proper name? Because
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage was great. Daredevil was great. The Punisher was awesome. I really enjoyed those. They did a good job with those. That was some good writing. Ding, ding, ding. It's like. I don't know.
Well, when nerd culture became culture, that was probably a bridge too far.
Yep. What a shame. Well, everything doesn't have to be a GD and political statement. This is entertainment. I want to be entertained. Just freaking entertain me.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, not really, no. Anyway, so enough about that. But like by all it means, we'd love to hear what you guys think. But overall, I mean, I ain't mad about it, but meh,
You want your refund of nothing?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It didn't cost me anything, so I ain't mad. If I'd paid good money to watch that, I'd be disappointed, But overall, and I mean, it was great. Anyway. All right, that's my 2 bits.
But maybe it's made for the new school. Well, definitely it's made for the new schools. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing is that I get a few of the beats because it's like the Forgotten Realms, but then again, I'm an old Greyhawk dog, so it's like, meh, But I know for a lot of that those people that started playing probably about 3 or 4 years behind me, they're like, Forgotten Realms, oh boy, like our old buddy William Ranto, he's like a big Ed Greenwood fan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard like there's a lot of little callbacks, and that's the part where they got you. Like one of the teams competing in the Blip Blap games was basically all the kids from the D&D movie. Zing, pow, hey. And then
which I have to admit, I want those little figures so bad.
Oh yeah.
But hey, protest time.
Exactly.
Boycott.
Yeah, I've seen them, but I'm like, nope, be strong. And that's like a damn $25 or something plastic popcorn tub that looks like a D20. Everyone was butt ass crazy over that. First of all, I'm not going to spend $20 on some plastic bullshit, but for 2, I ain't giving them my money. But everybody was crazy on my Facebook feed for about 2 days. Was like, I got to have one of those popcorn tubs. Oh, I'd punch a nun for one. I got to have it,
D&D is a brand.
That's all it is.
It's not a game. It's a
brand. That's right. And that's what WotC wants. I mean, I've seen him it's on socks now. It's on slippers. It's on PJs. That's when, something's become too commercialized. But I tell you, anyway, let's go on into our topic. I'm sure everyone's tired of hearing me whinge about the D&D movie.
Nah, they tune in to listen to old men complain about
Be a bunch of old grumpy
stuff,
grognards. Yeah. If it wasn't already taken, there's already a couple podcasts called Grognard or whatever.
Well, as usual, we were special guests at NTRPG because of our wonderful magnificence.
North Texas RPG Con just got back. Whew, good times, good times.
Boy, are his arms tired.
That's right. I didn't say it. Anyway, we got home with our catalytic converters intact.
Unlike some people.
Yeah, God bless them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because that's what happened to Gary of all people. 2 years ago? God bless Gary. Had like the worst weekend possible, and I'm so glad his life has turned around. Things are a lot better in his life. But I mean, that was just the worst weekend, and then the turd icing on the cake was they stole his catalytic converters. But anyway, the guy was able to get his replaced, and it was on his way. I saw the post. But enough about that. Yeah, we made it back. Another great year. I think they hit a sales record for them. Mm-hmm. They were over 500 between walk-ups and everything.
Yeah, and I think they said they'll cap their pre-sales at 500.
Yeah.
And then they'll still allow some walk-ups.
Walk-ups, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, basically they hit the 500, but through walk-ups and everything, yeah. So I'm happy for them. That's a new record. They deserve it. And if they had done this before, if let's say, I would have thought maybe it was because of Joe Manganiello was going to be there, or maybe Lou Gygax or something, but those guys didn't show up. So
luckily Satine did.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw those pictures. Yeah.
So we arrived on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Anything good happen on Wednesday?
I got to play a game and hang out with Chris Clark. We played his game, Who's Your Daddy?
Love me some Chris Clark.
Yeah, you know it. And so we got to play a couple of games. It really is an opportunity of, it didn't take 20 minutes to play 2 rounds of Who's Your Daddy. And then Heather went off for a smoke break, and I got the chance to chat with Chris. It was good to talk to him. We caught up, and I asked how like Jim Ward's doing, that sort of thing, So that was cool.
So I got to play the Transformers RPG finally.
Right on.
Thanks to Paul Smith running a special game just for me.
What a guy. What a guy.
What a guy. What a guy who loves suffering.
That's right. That's right.
So we suffered through I think it's Renegade Studios. It's published by Hasbro, of course.
Of course.
But why they did not use the 5e game system for it and they created something else completely different, I certainly don't know.
I don't know either, bud. That's weird.
But Paul did a fine job. I did an incredible job role-playing. So pat on the back. But that system was terrible. It's a rule with a sub-rule with a sub-rule with a... Nothing's intuitive.
Yay.
So I definitely give that 5 thumbs down.
Okay.
And I give Paul's game 5 thumbs up.
There you go. Yeah, but it's like the only thing saving it was Paul. I could see that. Totally.
So thank you. Thank you for running it. And I I guess it's Drew who ran it at LongCon last time.
Yeah.
And he was like, I might run it at LongCon for you, but I'll use a different system.
Ding, 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 ding.
And then our buddy Luau Lu said he'd made up a system back in the day. And I think there's a Savage Worlds variant for it because there's a Savage Worlds for everything.
Everything, yeah.
So
I had somebody asking me like, hey, you ran Savage Worlds Fallout at the con. And they were like, do you have the rules for that? And I said, they're on the internet, man. You just got to do a little searching, you know. I've seen rules for Shadowrun because a lot of people have said that your Shadowrun is a neat idea for a campaign or a system, but those rules are poopy. Ta-da, you know, good old Savage Worlds. But anyway.
all right. So does that cover Wednesday pretty well?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
A quick aside, some people you might be aware that they did a Shadow Dark RPG recently, had a Kickstarter, and a Miss Kelsey Dion, who's the author there, did this Kickstarter, and it made $1.3 million, Shadow Dark RPG. She was in attendance there at the con, and I got to meet her and say hi or whatever, and that was kind of neat. So I'm really tickled for her that her Kickstarter did so well, and it was really neat that she came out, to North Texas, amongst other things.
Yeah, everybody was taking pictures with her. She was the big celebrity.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, because how awesome is that? That I don't know that she's ever done a Kickstarter before, and her very first one makes $1.3 million.
The only thing better than that is John Watson's Hell Train is almost up at 7K now.
And that was my thing I was going to mention. Yeah, our good friend John Watson has doing a Kickstarter for an adventure he wrote for Weird Frontiers, which is it uses the DCC mechanics. But yeah, Hell Train is an adventure that he premiered at the 2019 LongCon. And he's been playtesting it since then. He's ran it numerous times, and now it's finally coming to fruition. His Kickstarter's up and running. It's over 7,000. I want us to help kick it to get that next stretch goal. Give John and that Hell Train as much love as you can, because John's a great guy, one of the just best people we know, and it's a really great adventure. And I think the cool stretch goal coming up is if we pass it, David Beatty's going to write an encounter
at 75. I think.
Yeah. So we're right there close. So let's try to push John over the edge there. And I mean, even if you were someone who's like, well, I don't do Weird Frontiers, it's a really cool module. You could use it in other, similar Weird West systems or whatever. And just, this is John's first effort.
Do it. Just do it.
Just support it. Come on, man. But no, it really is cool. It's got great artwork, great writing. Because this is his first Kickstarter, but John's actually been writing for RPGs for years. He's written for Weird Frontiers. He's written for, what's the system? Torg. He's written for some other things and stuff. So no, this is not he has a record of quality. So definitely throw him some love. So yeah, we're talking about Wednesday night, Thursday, actually, I ran my long hack.
So I suppose if it's the long hack, that means I get 50% of the profits.
Well, duh. It's going to be.
I love that.
I was going to say it's going to be under our imprint, But I play tested it, and for the players that weren't on their phone, I got some really good feedback and some good interaction with the system. And you know what I found? Jason has got Jason Lilly, some great input and great insight. And he pointed out some stuff because he gets it. He's like, you want this to be as elegant as possible, and went right. And he goes, well, consider combining that into one dice roll. And he came with a cool dynamic. I'm going to use it. It's brilliant because I had it kind of like, well, you turn the creature, like you have to roll under your presence to turn them, like as the priest, the hospital or whatever. But then, like, each creature would get like a will save, and he's like, no, that's complicated, that bogs things down. He's like, just how about for every point they exceed the presence check by, that's one more creature that you turn. I said, I love that. It's all on one dice roll. Very elegant. So I'm going to start picking Jason's brain. I got his email address, and he said, I've got some ideas also for how you could put a little zhuzh up my my tournament game, and he even had a cool idea. I'm not going to share it here, but it's something to where
You can't. It could be stolen.
Exactly. But he gave me a cool idea for something I might grow out of that tournament game that's DCC specific. Kind of interesting.
And I get 50%.
It's going to be under our imprint. So
Yay.
yeah, there we go. All right. So that was the long hack. But like overall, that's something that I'm going to put a little art on it. Kind of get that looking nice. Priorities first. I got to finish caverns, but after that or concurrently, I'm going to get this looking good, and we might put it out there free as a PDF or something on the LongCon site, and then we might do some digest size prints of it to have available on the table at our con and at North Texas and stuff. That's that's just in the back of my head. Something there. So anyway,
you got a lot of harassment for Caverns of the Dead God this weekend.
I got a poop ton of harassment about caverns.
So did it have any effect?
Again, as Heather, I'm proud of her. She's already, getting to be that good one that's backs, behind every great man. She's like, she said, I've got it there. I'm just waiting on art. And my artist, I hope he doesn't listen to the podcast because, bruh, you're dragging your feet if you are listening. I'm actually looking at other artists now because it's been like a month. So think about it. So that means I sent off this a month ago to get artwork, and I've not heard anything. I'm patient, and I've been busy con prep. But now I'm going to start reaching out to some other artists. And
Lou gave me some more artist names too. So
he did. John gave me some names. Beatty, gave me some more names. So. And I even found a guy myself on Facebook that I really liked his style, and he's out of, I don't know, Brazil or something, or Portugal, but somewhere. But yeah, that guy's got some cool looking art, and he and I have been talking. So, this is why you don't put all your eggs in one basket, gang. And so, yeah, look for that to be coming before too long. I'm excited about Caverns. I got a lot of good energy from people really encouraging me and pushing me this weekend. So anyway, yeah. So what did you do Thursday?
I got to run yet another playtest of Horde Crawl, or Dungeon Dwelling Creatures, or whatever the name turns into in the next 10 minutes.
Hey guys, if you can think of a cool name for a game that's Dungeon Crawl Classics, that the concept is you're playing as the monsters,
send it to
send it on in
101 Walla Walla, Washington.
That's right, exactly. Share it somewhere where we might see it. Email it to us because our email. Yep.
So that is John Watson of Hell Train fame and my little baby.
Baby.
And we got to play with the lilies. So they went straight from your game into my game, and they could not stop raving about how much better it was. I was like, come on, guys.
Not surprised at all.
You're going to hurt Matt's feelings.
I'm over here crying.
But the Wendigo class, which is basically a ghoul with some things, and the hag really stood out to me in that game. They really shone.
And that was out of all the plays, it seemed like, was that the one I kept sneaking around the corner and checking on y'all? You looked like you were having a lot of fun that night. This is when you were running on the one table and John was on the other table in the library. But yeah, I could tell you really enthused. You were getting some good energy, good feedback. Absolutely.
So that one was really good. And it does seem like different characters get the spotlight. Like you'll be like, oh man, in this game, the Dybbuk did everything. They were just, And then in that one, it was like, well, between the hag and the Wendigo, the hag was sort of the team leader, and the Wendigo just killed everything that got in their way.
Yeah, it was kind of like when we were playtesting Weird Frontiers. I thought the Gunslinger was a bit strong, but that's just it. He's the combat monster. He's the thing. Well, the Wendigo, again, he's your combat monster. So in combat, he's going to outshine everybody. But then outside of combat, and that's only fair, because actually we would go, well, I should have all these bells and whistles outside of combat. Well, then you wouldn't get to be that much of a combat beast. There's got to be that fair balance. So in combat, the Wendigo's a brute. And I mean, still, the player playing them could be effective outside of combat with good input. But as far as abilities that shine outside combat, that's things like the hag, the Dybbuk, the goblin can spot traps on stuff. So, I mean, you can't do it all. But no, the Wendigo is a highly effective class. And day one, I spotted, woo, this is your combat beast. And it really is. If you want to, you're the guy who, your measuring stick for a fun, effective character is the guy that's going to put the beat downs. Play the Wendigo, Yeah.
And then I think they might have had the Orc and the Wendigo together, and it was just like, all right.
Oh yeah.
You got team what Fight and Bite. is what I was calling them.
And yeah, the orc's no slouch either.
Yeah, because right now the orc has a feature where if he gets hit on the next turn, he gives out that much damage plus.
Yeah, like you send him into a rage.
Yeah. But if he takes 10 points, he's going to give 10 points plus back on his next one.
Dang, ouch.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So he's
That's
not
tough.
screwing around.
No, then the orc's the orc's pretty tough too. But it's just the Wendigo's bite, whatever damage he inflicts with a bite, the idea is that he uses that tissue to heal himself. So if he took a big bite, it's a big heal. So the idea is that he doesn't have to be looking around to the imp or whatever, going, hey, throw me a heal, bruh. He consider biting heal himself in combat. So that's what kind of helps him shine. But the orc's cool too. But the orcs went through some iterations and changes. And last time I remember when Heather was playing the orc at LongCon, you had kind of somewhat of a D die. I hate to call it that. It's not a D die, but it is a D die.
Yeah,
but
brute die.
The brute die. And that was kind of interesting. And then it seemed like you had like a war cry or intimidate, where either you inspire your allies or you intimidate your foes, something like that. I can't remember, which I think that's cool, Anyway.
So that was a lot of fun. And that was what we did on Thursday.
Yeah. And then Friday, as usual, our con, their con. On Fridays, I do a tournament game.
And we had a delicious special guest lunch.
Yeah, we did. We had our special guest lunch, which was very thoughtful of them to have that for us. We had some fajitas, which were muy delicioso. And, yeah. And then
Enough said.
Well.
I had a good talk with
Tom Wilson.
And Bad Mike. And, I'm trying to think. Was Lou in there with that for part of that? I don't think so.
No, we had come through, and we were going to sit down at the table with it was Ben Burns, Bad Mike, and was it Bill Barsh? And Ben was just teasing, but Ben Burns said something snarky, and we just said, forget you. We walked over, plopped down at the other table, and they're like, oh, come on, guys. Like they want to sit there. And we're like, nope, the moment's gone. Well, then Tom Wilson popped down beside us, which he does ShireCon up in Connecticut.
Yep.
And he does like a lot of those
Base X.
It's a lot of really cool zines, and I own a number of post-APOC adventures he did that are great. I mean, really great. So check out Tom Wilson. I want to think, gosh, his imprint is, I feel bad. Sorry, Tom. I can't think of it right now. But no, Tom Wilson, great stuff.
Thoey Games, right?
Thoey Games, that's right. Yeah. And it's got like the logo is like that. It looks like a Roman coin with like, one of the emperor's heads on it or something like that. But super great guy, like volunteer fireman, just always, he's someone early on gave me a lot of good tips and encouraged me like, what you should do something, print something, make something. That was years ago. So, super great guy. So we got to have lunch with him.
ShireCon, I think he said, was expanding to a whole day and a half.
Half instead of a day. Yeah. And so once Bill and Ben jumped away from their table, Bad Mike came over and plopped down because he wanted to sit with the cool kids, and we chatted up. And you know what? I normally I don't get the chance to really talk much with Mike. I was really tickled this year. He and I had more interaction, and it was enjoyable. It was nice. It's good because we got to know Doug really well from our trip to Wisconsin, but I've never had a chance to really have as much interaction with Mike. So it's kind of nice, and Mike's a good guy.
Got to see our friend James Raggy at lunch too. Somehow I didn't get a chance to talk to him this weekend.
As he came in, we walked out. It was almost like, I laughed. I came over to his table and then I realized who he was. But I pointed at, what's that adventure, Frost Frang Doom or whatever?
Yeah.
And I pointed at it and I just did the no gesture, like, No, I just walked off, like, that adventure. Anyway,
you loved it.
Yeah. So let me think. So what did you ran Horde Crawl Classic again Friday?
Mm-hmm. So what did you do on Friday? We haven't discussed that yet.
Oh yeah, I did my tournament game.
We talked about lunch.
Yeah, did my tournament game, and normally I do my tournament games in like the last slot of the day, but luckily for me this year I did mine like 1 to 5. Man, pure genius. Really great. And so everybody was still kind of awake and had some energy. Maybe post lunch, maybe not. They were a little sluggish. I don't know. But anywho, I had, what was it, 8 players. I generally allow. I don't like a lot of people at my table, but for a tournament game, yeah, the more is the merrier. So it had 8 players. Everybody showed up. We had a good time. There were some fun surprises. I did it in like 3 phases, and I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to play test any of this. So I was worried about the pacing in a 4-hour slot. This was great. I had a trophy for first place and some cool ribbons for second and third. It was really neat because a lot of times I worry. You can kind of see where it's going. Like the guy who's in the lead halfway through, he's probably going to carry it to the end. No, this was very topsy-turvy, but that's because you didn't just get stamps from kills or, from like surviving an encounter, and then eventually you die and you get that death stamp. You also got stamps each round for finding Dreadrock or finding one of the treasure chests. And the treasure chests were just out on the board, so people were like racing to get to them, and when someone died, the Dreadrock and the treasure chest would be right there on the board, and people would diverge from where they're going. And I had sewer entrances, so you could go into a sewer entrance and test your luck. If you passed, you pop out at the other sewer entrance next turn or whatever. If you fail, some rats jump you in the sewers, which you might survive, and you'll get that survival stamp. So it was really fast and furious, but there were way more stamps this year. Like David said, what do we do when we fill up? And I said, we're going to turn the sheet over. Luckily, we didn't have to turn the sheet over, but I've never filled all those stamp slots on the big full-page tourney sheet. We had every spot stamped. And so anyway, yeah, it was fast, it was furious, and we saw some flip-flops and back and forth. So I kind of liked that. There was something beyond just survival, and so it was cool, Normally I don't do a lot of terrain or a lot of miniatures or something per se, but this year I've got a bunch of old tabletop wargaming terrain, and I had to bundle up in plastic crates, but it's light, it's terrain. But I had the table covered in terrain, and in between rounds, I go, all right, everybody take a 5-minute break. I would change the board up and add some pieces and take pieces off, because like the first one was supposed to be executioner square. I had on the board a hangman's noose, a guillotine, the thing you put your head and your arms through. What was that thing? I can't think of it.
Like the stock. The
stocks. Yeah, I had like a set of the stocks out there. Funny story. I didn't think about this until just now as we're talking. One guy thought it was cute. He actually stuck his neck, like he took his little character and put it through, like, here, I'm gonna chop my own head off. Well, then I said, hey, something occurred that really did call for a luck check. I said, give me a luck check. He rolled a 20. I went, you know what? You actually did cut your head off. Shink. And so he was carrying a treasure chest and like 2 Dreadrock. So now there was like all this loot there by the guillotine.
Free.
Yeah, so people were running to get to it, and I was like, all right, you got 5 minutes left in this round. Let's see if you can get to the loot and get it in your hand. Because there was one point where Gus got greedy. He had 2 treasure chests and a Dreadrock. Well, the chest slowed you down. So I said, well, you're at half move for the one chest. Second chest, you're at like 1/3 movement, right? I mean, you're just barely moving 5 feet. Well, there was a well, and I said, you look down in it. Oh, cool. You see some Dreadrock down there. He dives in to get it, and something got him and he drowned. And so by the time another character got on the board and was trying to make it there, I'd already said, like, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, we're done at the end of this round. He was like 5 feet shy of getting to those chests and that Dreadrock. So, I mean, he would have had 3 more stamps. Nope. Anyway, it was interesting. So like I said, first round was Executioner Square. Second phase was Graveyard. So I had a bunch of tombstones and a cool diorama thing, life size, that they could move their character into, that was like, broken into mausoleum with a hero's grave in it. And this is all stuff that I made myself by hand that looks really cool. And so the necromancers, like the first phase, the pop-up monsters are like rats and goblins and giant spiders, the ones that are pretty good size, like the size of a dog. Phase 2 is, the graveyard, the necropolis. So of course, when you trigger a monster, it was zombies, skeletons, and there was a small chance for like a ghoul, which is pretty tough for 0-level characters. But then, like I said, about 3 rounds into the goblin spider one, a troll shows up and just starts wandering the board, just wrecking house. 3 rounds into the graveyard, a necromancer shows up that has this long-range necrotic blast or whatever. All right, third phase, there are some cultists in the middle of the board, and there's this really cool, you've seen my little bloody chaos shrine or whatever, and there's a sacrifice on it. Well, I was like, I wonder if the players will figure this out. Well, I kind of put out hints that there's some chanting and there's the main cultist leader chick. Oh, she's, doing her thing. Well, like they have 3 rounds of disrupt it. If they don't disrupt it, a demon shows up. Because, it's like 3 rounds in every time some big bad shows up. Well, they could disrupt it, but she's kind of tough to beat her. So a guy came up initially was just going to grab the sacrificial offering. What he didn't know is I was going to give a stamp for somebody that, got her and kept her safe, whatever. But then he didn't disrupt the ritual, even though he grabbed the sacrifice. The demon showed up, and he went and engaged the demon. I mean, you're a 0 level character. I mean, he hit it, which I was impressed. Like he rolled like a 19. I went, you know what? You hit him. Generate damage with your staff. 2 points. Yeah, you hit the thing in the end of its nose, and it just kind of looks at you like, really? And then, blap, Anyway, but it was a lot of fun. We had a good time. So anyway, so you had a good Hordes game Thursday. What about Friday?
No bueno.
No bueno. Womp womp.
Not everybody hits a home run every time they go up to bat.
Yeah. But so there was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You ran it all 3 days, right? Didn't you? So what would you say?
2 home runs.
So Thursday was a home run.
And a, what do you call it? A ball to the balls.
Uh-oh.
Pitch into the sack.
Pitch into the sack. Ouch.
But, like I said, not all of them are home runs.
Thursday was good. Saturday was good. But Friday was kind of no bueno.
Yep.
All right.
One thing is sandboxes.
Uh-huh.
As much as I think me and you love a sandbox, and if somebody said, just go do your thing, we'd be like, hooray.
Yeah.
But for that one, there was a lot of indecision, and I see that so many times. It's like, I'm not doing that. This is just not going to work.
Well, when you have a fixed time, like if it's a home campaign, sandbox is brilliant. At a con game where you have that limited time, you got to lead them by the nose a little bit, You
Well,
can't
there was
give them
no
much
like,
freedom.
you got to get this done within this amount of time. It's like, if you want to do something, go for it.
Yeah. But the problem with that is you see this analysis paralysis that we've seen out of people, and it's a shame. But because not everybody, that's not their strength. And I don't know, people are so worried they're going to make the wrong decision or something. I don't know. But anyway.
And we were kind of writing the rules there because we had a lot of game designers at the table.
That's
so
true.
There was some of that. And we actually had, for the first time that I've ever done it, we had the Dybbuk rolling to possess bodies.
Uh-huh.
The Dybbuk could not freaking get any successes. It was so painful.
Was that Ron?
Yeah.
And see, I tell you, poor Ron, everybody, reach out to Ron, give him your sympathy. The man's dice were cold the whole con. He was in my tournament games. He've never seen so many ones when you want to roll a 20 and so many 20s when you want to roll a 1. I'd be like, test your luck, 20, or like swing to hit 1. I mean, fumbles and like literally there was a deal where when you grab a piece of Dread Rock, there's a chart you roll on, basically like a luck check. And if you roll like a nat 1, like you might gain an extra luck or some positive mutation as the stone mutates you. But if you roll 20, you just rapidly, wildly mutate and you just explode in a screaming wad of flesh. Guess who was the first person to get that effect picking up Dread Rock? Poor Ron. Ron, his dice totally betrayed him, God
so
bless
the good
him.
thing about that game, though, was I corrected for the next one.
You learned.
Yep.
Basically just no roll. It just works kind of. And that's cool. And there might be some sort of middle ground, but
And no sandbox in the beginning.
Yeah,
because it was like, you get about an hour of sandbox, and then we'll find the plot.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So that probably helped too for the next one. So Saturday I did my.
Oh, you forgot the DCC meetup.
Oh, that's
Friday
true.
night.
I forget Friday night with the DCC meetup, which you gotta love this guy. It was his idea, his brainchild. He sets the whole thing up. He gets there. He's initially officiating, throws out some great topics, and then he disappears. Poof. What is it, Magic Man? Now you see me, now you don't. But no,
when you do everything right, they won't be sure you did anything at all.
That's right. But no, I think it went well. We had a lot of fun. After you left, I threw out a few topics, and we just talked about some general gaming stuff. But I definitely try to keep the focus on DCC, and people try to start that whole poop on other games. So I'm like, let's keep this positive and not worry about the deficiencies of other games, but what makes DCC great. And I laughed. Beatty was like, I hope you'll invite me next time. We're like, no, he knew about it 1 and 2. He passed through 3 and 4 times, and we'd all clap and draw attention to him as he passed through. Like, yeah, we see you not joining in on this,
He's made his money. He doesn't care about the little people anymore.
Exactly. Too funny.
So Saturday,
like I said, I ran Savage Worlds Fallout. And there's no official Fallout rules, but if you'll do a little digging on the internet, you can find 2 or 3 different people have made rules through the years. I tinkered with it a little bit to kind of bring it up to date for Suede, the current version of Savage Worlds. And the players had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I've got a bunch of miniatures I collected through the years, like the game, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Modifius, whatever, the current holder of the license for making RPGs. I don't know about their 2D20 system. John Watson was telling me, oh, it's a great system. I was like, well, you'll have to run something and I'll try it. But until then, I know Savage Worlds and it's an easy fit. And but I ran it in Savage Worlds. And so the funny thing I was telling Eddie was half the people at the table who signed up for this game had never played Savage Worlds. So that kind of throws a little wrench in the works because you have to spend a certain amount of the game time explaining Savage World dynamic. And then the other half of the people had never played Fallout before and had no idea about that property. So there were certain concepts that I was leaning into that I'd have to stop to kind of explain to people. Like when they met the Brotherhood of Steel, they were like, okay. But some people were like, I don't trust him. And like, don't hide your technology from them, like but the other ones were like, huh, what, or should we trust him or not, and I'm like, well, let me give you a little background on the Brotherhood of Steel. Some people think they're here to help, some people really think they're busybodies out of it. It's form your own opinion anyway. But it was fun. I used, like I said, I bought these miniatures through the years from Modifius, and then I found you could just, for those who might be interested, you can now find a lot of these same miniatures on Etsy for like 1/10 of the price, and they look great. Good resin cast. So you want some super mutants, mutant dogs, the Dreadclaw, that stuff, whereas you'd spend a mint the Modifius, you can get dirt cheap on Etsy. So FYI. But yeah, had a good game, had a lot of fun. And all these games I ran at North Texas, I'm going to run them again at Long Con. So FYI, and I'll even have more terrain for my tournament game, and I will have tweaked, because these were all kind of play tests at their con. Oops. So I will have refined some of this, and it'll be even better at Long Con. FYI. Okay, go ahead. Your Saturday game.
Speaking of play tests, I've got a whole future of horde crawl dungeon dwelling creatures ahead of me.
Right.
That may be all I'm running for the foreseeable future.
Sure. You want to make it the best game you can be.
Yeah.
And I've had the benefit, because he's my bud, of helping him play tests. I played 2 or 3 games now. I've had fun every time. Absolutely every time. I've had a lot of fun. It really, and each of the classes has got a very unique flavor. I mean, genuinely. It's there's, so far I've not seen any class that I wouldn't want to play, and that speaks volumes from if you knew me.
And you don't want it to be, orc is just the fighter reskinned or whatever. It's like, oh, instead of a mighty deed, he has a brutal deed or something. It's like I want it to feel different. Like a hag doesn't feel like a wizard.
No, she's got curses, and she's got a select set of spells that are more typical to hag, manipulative, not direct boom blast or whatever, But like we've even talked about maybe adding in a class that is more of a direct, just strictly blaster, a boom caster. But I like that the hag her stuff's more subtle and more manipulative, and enchantments and charms and stuff and curses. That totally sounds like a hag to me. So you can see Eddie and John have really put thought into this, and it's really good.
So on my third game, the second game went so well that I was like, maybe I'll run a module, an existing module instead, because that is something I've wanted to do to see how it works that way. And then I started reading it, and I was like, no, this isn't the one. And besides, if you know anything about me, I'm ornery enough that I have to prove my point that this works well. Obstinate. I was like, no, this will work. This will be well received. And it did need the tiebreaker. It's like, well, I've got this one good run of it here at the con, and this one not so good run, so I need the third one to validate it or invalidate it, so to speak.
Well, at least you could leave on a high note.
Well, I think if I had run a module, that would have been the safe thing to do, where it's like, oh, okay, this is it'll work. Whereas if it's something that I'm making up, then it's like, okay, let's see if it's actually doing it or not. So, for people like Lou that got to play in that awesome Saturday game, what I did, instead of having any sandbox at the very beginning, is you're in the moat house and there are bandits that are camping out above you that are not affiliated.
You need to run them off.
So go take care of them because we don't want them attracting the authorities here and discovering this secret lair here. There's a lot of bigger evil here that we don't want this minor evil setting it off.
Yeah, because who's the guy
Bringing
in
the
charge?
law
He's like,
down.
so and so the beautiful. I can remember Lareth or whatever. Lareth the beautiful. So Lareth has then sent the word down. Get rid of these bandit scrubs. Yeah. So how'd that go?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
So the hag went up there and charmed the bandit, and then charmed the bandit leader. And it was really funny. You hear me giggling to myself. He's like, go and tell your men there's a fire drill. Drop all your stuff and run away as fast as you can. So they're like, okay, because the boss has absolute control. They're not going to stand up to him if he says, the sky is falling. They're going to run. They're not going to screw around.
Yeah.
So they start running, and then all the monsters come in and just lay waste to them.
Oh, wow.
And they've got all that gear now. So they geared themselves up in a hurry.
That's neat. See, that's great. That's great. And I bet, so who was on that table? Would I know anybody on that table?
Yeah, Matt. So many Matts.
Yeah,
but I don't like to drop too many Matts
Yeah.
in case people want their privacy. Like, I don't want anybody to know I'm a gamer.
Sure. That's fine.
Matt P with all the other Matts and stuff, and his wife. And we had a lovely time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that couple.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be in my Fallout
know.
game, but it's a long story.
Yeah.
That seemed like a nice enough guy. I Facebook befriended him.
He played the hag, and he did a great job with it. But that was all charm. So kind of like Saturday night, it was like, where's the blasting of the hag? This was the opposite, where it's like, look how broken this is with all these charms. And I was like, exactly.
No, I've had a charm. I've ran Caverns of the Dead God numerous times. Ample play testing. You're welcome. And one time, a caster out of the pre-gens had charm, broke that damn dungeon.
In a dungeon.
Yeah, broke it.
A lot of times as a heroic character, you can't go around throwing charm willy-nilly.
Right.
Because that's like, they'll realize you did this later, or you're kind of screwing them over when you do it.
Yeah.
But if you're already a monster, it's like, so what?
Whatever. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. That's great. So I'm tickled that he had that and leaned into it and made it work for him. That's great.
The goblins set some traps.
Cool.
So the first part of it was go kill these bandits. The second part of it was go get us a gem for this ritual we're going to conduct. So they went and took out the jewelers.
Oh, wow.
But I don't think they killed anybody. I think they just charmed their way in and out. And
Isn't that
that was
great?
that. So
if
that was their Ocean's 11.
But wasn't it great that if you want, and I like this, it goes to show there's people that we've had some concern, or I have, and I assume Eddie has too, that like, you're playing the bad guys in a game. Yeah, that can go a lot of different ways. And I guess if you had the right group or wrong group or whatever at your house, and it's a private setting, and you do what you want, and no one feels uncomfortable, you can go full on scumbag. But I'm tickled to know that they're playing the bad guys, but they still didn't kill anybody. And if they had, well, you are the bad guys. But it's cool that they got to be the bad guys, but they didn't. We wantonly burn the whole. We're going to go burn the orphanage down and kill all the nuns. I mean, no, it wasn't that kind of game.
And then the final challenge was for this ritual, we need the blood of a hero.
Oh, my.
So even then, they were like, well, they just said we need the blood. That doesn't mean we have to kill them.
Right.
So they went and engaged in battle with the ever-famous
Elmo. I was waiting for that.
Who is a known force of good. So he's a known, they
He's
know
a
about
hero,
him.
Yeah.
So they go and set a trap for him. They're like, we're going to put this like broken glass out and set his house afire. You have to poison somebody and you have to set their house on fire when you play Horde Crawl here.
I love it, yeah. I love when the first thing in our mouth is like, can we get poison? Where can we get poison?
That's always the first. Every game I've played, where can we get poison?
Interesting to think that as soon as like, well, I'm embracing the villain role, then poison is on the table, yeah.
But that's the thing. You don't get to use poison that much. You don't get to charm that much. So even the standard stuff that's always there, you actually get to use it for a chance. You get to roll monster crit table.
Oh, wow, cool. And
so
that's a
all
good crit
those things,
table,
undead crits.
Ooh, those are nasty.
You actually get to use them.
Yeah, that's nasty. Undead crits are nasty, yeah.
So, for that one, though, they're just like, well, we'll set his house on fire, and he'll come running out in his nightgown, basically, and he'll get on this glass. We'll come back later and get some of that glass. End of story. No encounter required.
Yeah. Well, the old Michael Curtis said, if you can keep the dice out of the game master's hand, and that was it. They were like, let's end this with all of our hit points intact. Boy, won't that's a win. Like, looky there. Yeah. So that's cool.
So they tried it. he wasn't home.
Uh-oh.
So about the time they set his fire out and his family's running out into this trap,
And stepping
it's
on
like
glass,
da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So here he came, but they were like, which one of these is Elmo? When they came running out of the house, they're like, maybe the girl is Elmo. So they collected blood. They didn't kill anybody. They just kind of like scratched everybody to get blood from them. And then when old Elmo showed up and says, what's going on? They get a scratch off of him and they're like, ding, we checked it. They're like, let's fight with him about a round or two and see how it goes. And they did. And they're like, this is not our day. So we run away.
Yeah.
But they had accomplished the mission.
And they had enough sense to run away from superior force. Because nowadays people are like, well, the GM wouldn't throw something else. We're not meant to fight. Wrong.
I think if they had stayed around, though, they would have taken him out, even though this is like, you know, your He-Man.
But at what price would they have possibly taken some casualties, though? You know, but
it's possible, but
yeah,
they may have had the Wendigo and the Orc, too.
Oh, yeah.
But,
well.
you know, the Orc is healing back what it's doing, so.
Yeah.
And then, they had the Grafted. They got to use that one.
Yeah, the new Grafted.
And the Hag had enlarged them. The Hag was going around enlarging everybody. So it was like, you guys could probably win this fight.
Enlarge is cool. I was telling the story about at 1 year at North Texas, I was playing an oxymoron, a giant dwarf. Someone had enlarged and got a really good roll on the dwarf. That dwarf was wrecking house. He was a 10-foot tall dwarf, just bah, 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 you know, it was great. That's awesome. Well, and it helps. You want the shrewd player playing the caster, and when they do, it's all good. And that's why a lot of people go, I want to play a wizard. You can play one, but the people that shine at it, that are really good, that's...
And the two games that went the best were ones where somebody kind of stepped up and took the lead.
Yeah.
Like, I think we should do this. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's where maybe it's sad to say, but you might at a different con look around and go, all right, who wants to be my caller? You're basically going to be the de facto leader of sorts, like collect the data from the group, what they want to do, but then go, all right, here's the plan and implement it.
As much as people say they don't want to be railroaded, they want to be railroaded.
Exactly. People want to be led by the nose.
But a good time was had by all, so it was a success.
Good.
John Watson really got the fire for it again. He ran several games of it. He had one where he had, I think, 3 orcs on the table.
Wow.
And the way we've got it right now is the more orcs you have, the more powerful some of their skills are. So, yeah, he was like, man, they were just lighting things up. And I think the Hag was the leader on that table, which was Ian.
Well, it seems like the Hag or the Imp should just sort of be the leader anyway. I call it the Imp. It's really the Fiend, because they start out as a, what's their first iteration?
Is it Lemur?
It seems like it, but yeah, first they're a Lemur, then they're an Imp.
The little slug man.
Then they eventually become like a Barb Devil or whatever.
Succubus or Incubus.
Succubus is in there somewhere, yeah.
Chain Devil.
Yeah, that's cool. Which is, you're getting
That's
up there
be...
then. We're going to wreck. Yeah. But no, it's like I said, each of these classes has got so much flavor. The Grafted's kind of cool, but the only thing that's like, there were people that were kind of, well, you want them to experiment with it, but they went a little crazy with it, and so their characters died.
Yeah. Well, we had one in this one that grafted a dog head onto the end of their arm. So they had a bite attack instead, and they were already 3-armed. So I think they had ended up getting one of the bandits' arms, which was a little bit stronger to give them a strength bonus. So they had a 2-handed attack and a bite every round.
Wow, that's pretty wild. But the controlling factor there is you have to make some sort of a system shock save, and if you fail it, you die. That's kind of tough. So,
but it keeps it old school.
Yeah, yep. That's why you have to really ask yourself: do I want that bite attack or that third arm or third leg or whatever?
Use your third arm.
Exactly. Cool. So
then comes the best day of the con ever. Sunday, where people are running away as fast as they can.
Yeah, I laugh because there are people that were like, hey, I'm in the bar on Sunday night. No one's here. Yeah, we took our asses home. I'm like, I don't know about these people that are like, I stayed over till Monday. Good for you. But no, come Sunday, this one jetted home. Lucky rascal. He was here probably by what, 10?
Yeah, I left the con at, I think, 8. So I apologize that I didn't get to say goodbye to everybody. Yeah. But that got me home by 10, which was like getting a bonus day.
Oh, yeah.
And plus, I didn't have to ride home with Matt.
Exactly. And we had ample room for stuff in the back seat. By the way, I've got your sunglasses.
Good.
Yeah. But
and my Carnage.
That's right. But needless to say, yeah, I packed everything up at our table and said the goodbyes and shook the hands, and then took off myself. Me and Heather, we had
But
a
you
pleasant.
guys didn't make it home till 3, right?
Yeah, well, we stopped for some Freddy burgers and all that, which is good
I
stuff.
knew Matt would want to do some meandering, so I was like, we'll both enjoy this better if we split at the end here.
Right. We rode in together, but separate vehicles on the home, which worked out best for everybody. But just a couple comments and remarks from the con.
We barely got to hang out at this con.
Yeah, that's what's crazy is I've been so busy with con prep and work and everything. My old buddy, I haven't got to hang out with him much the last month or so.
And usually if we hang out, we put microphones in front of our faces.
Exactly.
So if you ain't getting your podcast, that probably means we ain't seeing each other.
I had people coming up and going, "Hey man, is the podcast still going?" And I said, "My apologies, but we just haven't had a chance to hang out." And that's a lot of times we would have these kind of conversations and go, "Man, we should record this." Well, here we are. It's like you sitting here with us while we're getting to catch up. Well, anyway, to my point was, like one day at the con, one morning, we both got down to the booth kind of early, and that's the only time at the con we really got to talk. We sat there for about an hour and a half chit-chatting as people passed by our desk, but that we didn't hardly get to hang out even at the con. We were so busy. But anyway, I was going to say one of the most flattering things I heard last weekend when I was within earshot and people were trying to describe Long Con, they would say, it's just like this con, just half as big, which I take as a real compliment because that's what we always aim for. We want to be like NTRPG, and we aim to be about their cap is 500, our cap is 250. And so really that was very flattering, and I appreciate it. I mean, a number of people when they would go, "Hey, this is Matt from Long Con," and they turn to the person they're talking to, they're introducing me to, and they go, "Oh, Long Con, oh yeah, we're in Longview," and the person who's interested would go, "Yeah." I mean, I heard it more than once, like their con's just like this, only half as big. So that was kind of nice.
Because I don't think there are that many RPG focused cons. You can get a Comic-Con or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the everything
everywhere.
Con. Yeah, those are. Yeah, there's way too many of those. But those are people that they're smart. They're trying to make money doing this stuff. We're not trying to make money,
Speaking of how much we're not trying to make money, bury this way at the back of the podcast because we didn't say it already.
Oh crap! Yeah.
If you buy your badge this month,
June,
the first 100, when we get 100 people, we'll do a drawing and someone will get a free room for the con.
Yeah, free room for the con, man.
We'll pay for your room.
That's pretty awesome. So, if we sell 100 before the end of June, and we're already at 42 last time I looked earlier today.
It's actually higher because we've got John Watson's Hell Train people.
That's true.
So if you backed Hell Train, you're not in yet, but you'll be in a couple of days.
But then again, we shouldn't really put those in that 100, should we?
Yeah, we should.
Okay, fair enough.
They're paying. John Watson is paying
true.
for those badges. So
that's true.
You're buying a badge to Long Con when you back that.
Yeah, but also
we count you.
But also they're already getting a free room too. But the good news is, aren't they?
It's a good question.
But to my point is they do help the other people get to 100 quicker. So we'll do that to even help you out. So if we sell 100 tickets within June, we will turn around and of that 100 do a random drawing, probably disincluding the people that already have rooms paid for by John Watson. That would be pretty chintzy.
Yeah.
But we'll do a drawing and somebody's going to win a free room.
And if by some crazy chance it's over 100, those over 100 people, if you buy one in June and we get over 100, then you're included.
Yeah.
And if it's 200, we'll do 2 drawings.
Exactly. But anyway,
it won't be. But
so what I would say is get your ticket.
Badge.
Tell your get your badge.
Interchangeable terms.
Tell your buddies to get your badge. Encourage those people that you're going to come, but are like, well, I just want to drag my ass until November. Get on it now, and you could win a free room, bruh.
Yeah, and remember, no refunds.
Exactly.
So you can't game the system.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, we don't do refunds, but we'll push you on it. If you're like, well, I don't know if I'll be able to make it, we'll push it to next year. We do that. So by all means, even if you're like, well, I don't know what's going to happen between now and November, buy the ticket. We'll push it to next year. If you can't, but you have a chance to get a free hotel room, so make it happen. So in a few other little asides from the con, because I know we're getting a little long here. I had another great conversation with Zeb Cook, who was in high spirits, if you know what I mean. And this time, instead of Diesel LaForce, it was Alan Hammock chiming in about the Assassin's game, crazy stuff done with TSR letterhead, state and local officials coming to TSR HQ, and even the FBI paid them a visit at one point. Some of this stuff, if you're old school and you love your lore, you probably know this stuff. But if not, because of them like writing some letter for the Assassin's game, like I need so and so terminated with extreme prejudice, whatever. They used TSR letterhead, and this letter got out in the world, and someone saw it, and like the FBI got involved. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it was really neat because we'd had some of these stories before with Zeb and Diesel when we were at some sort of meet and greet that took place at the con years ago. Well, I was manning the booth late into the evening, and Zeb just sauntered up 2 nights in a row, and we had quite the conversation, you know. But it was neat. So anyway, yeah, and there were numerous other little asides and seeing people. It was great to catch up. But that's why we do the long con, because we want to be able to do that twice a year, you know, catch up with old friends and that we've made at North Texas. But it was another great North Texas, another great year. I really appreciate them making a special guest again. It was very nice.
Every year, forever.
Yeah.
Forever, Morty.
Forever.
Special guest forever.
Yep.
999 years of special guests at NTRPG.
Even though
Long Con
Bad
guys.
Mike swears he's going to put a restraining order on us, but, you know,
Good luck.
it'll never take.
Well, speaking of how we're different from NTRPG,
Yeah.
just had somebody, because our game registration stuff is up now too, and we've got the game slots up. So ours is regimented. It's the times are A, B, C. This is how it is, no exceptions. And David Quick was just like, "Thank you for doing your scheduling like that."
No, I want you to know, I wasn't going to talk trash, but I had...
It's not trash.
Yeah, I had more than one person come up and go, man, one thing I'd say, like, I'm so glad that y'all's stuff is you know, set times, regimented. And even the one guy asked me, he said, well, why do they do that? And I said, well, probably because some of these special guests are like,
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly be up before 9, and then I guess I'll run a game at 10 to, you know,
They've
2 or
got so
something.
many people
And-
they've got to accommodate,
Yeah,
and I understand it. I
That's
appreciate
sweet,
it.
but it should be no.
We tell our special guests to suck it up.
Yeah, we're like, these are our times. Find 2 or 3 slots in that time frame and do it. Because like someone said, I love that I have time to go do a bio, interact with vendors, you know, grab a snack or whatever, interact with some other people for a minute in between games. That nice hour block, we've gotten a lot of praise over that through the years.
And they used to do 6-hour slots.
Ooh.
They've gotten away from that, which
Yeah.
I think was a good change.
Yeah,
But
smart. Yeah.
6 hours is a lot. And then when you're like, I'm going to play 2 games. Okay, you've just committed yourselves to 12 hours of gaming in 24 hours a day.
Well, and I've seen some people talk about they would love to be able to play 3 rounds in a day, which you can play 12 hours at our con if you play all day, all 3 slots. They were like, I'd love to do that, but I use the times, the way the schedules are so wonky, there's times where I couldn't get but 2 games in a day because one went long and the other one that I wanted wasn't until way late in the afternoon, and then, or they butt up against each other and you're running from one game to the next one trying to make it in time. It's nice to have that regimented schedule. I'm glad we do that, and we've gotten a lot of praise for that. There's a lot of things that they do to honor Doug, and I think that's awesome. And a lot of that, I'm right there going, throwing a salute. Heck yeah! Like, but you know, if they got away from the registration at midnight, no one ever liked that, you know. And it was a PIA, and some people would miss because they would confuse midnight on one, you know, I mean, like through the years I've heard people like, yep, I missed registration because I showed up a day late or whatever.
And if you didn't complete your checkout process and you wouldn't notice because you did your stuff and went to bed, and then you wake up 8 hours later and go,
where
I
are
didn't
my
work.
games? Yeah, you didn't check out. And so that's what all I'm saying is like that's a real nod. That's a great thing that they've, you know, moved away from that. But that's one of those things that I kind of wish they would. Like, we've taken so many pages from their book. I wish they'd take one from ours and do set, you know, game times. But oh well, que sera, sera. It's still one of the greatest cons around, and we love the con and we love going. But I'm looking forward to Long Con now. And it's cool. I've seen a lot of people's posts saying, you know, see you at Long Con. Isn't that great? That's kind of like, you know, North Texas Mark II, you know. We got some cool pictures. They're on the North Texas page. We got everybody to wear their T-shirts, and we had a couple group photos.
It's also on the Long Con group page.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, check that out. Check out the Long Con page, and you'll see the photos. We had a ton of fun. It was another great year.
Did you see the clock on the wall?
I think it's completely out of time or something or whatever.
We're all out of hit points. See you.